Hello and welcome. Today we're at Universal Studios in Singapore, and as you can see, we're about to take a trip around the Sci-Fi City, which is a mashup of Transformers, Battlestar Galactica, and I think one or two other sort of Easter egg sci-fi franchises. So if you spot them as we walk around, then obviously please let me know in the comment section below. Now this section of the theme park was actually quite quiet because the main Transformers ride was actually closed. But you can see you've got all the different day bots and all the other little bits and pieces. There's lots and lots of theming all around the Universal Studio parks, especially at the one in Singapore as well. So you can literally just walk past all of this and miss. The weather was extremely toasty, but at this part of the park you can see that you got the sort of the roof over the top, which actually gave a good bit of shade. It didn't turn it into a greenhouse effect, and the cold drinks in the really big ice buckets was super refreshing. Now you can see you've got a photo opportunity there with one of the huge Transformers. You can get your photo taken professionally with their camera or your own, so you obviously can pick and choose what it is that you want to do. And then in the background you'll see Bumblebee, and then there's also an enormous roller coaster going around. So the roller coaster is themed to Battlestar Galactica, and there are two tracks that will run simultaneously, and they are very similar to the Hulk. So the track layout is not far off the Hulk layout. It is a lot smoother than the Hulk though, but the seating position is also different. So depending on which one you go on will depend on how you sit, with your legs dangling around and all that kind of thing, so you'll be able to see it as it starts to fly around. Now, if you have been here before, let me know what your favourite land is. Do you prefer the really big roller coasters, or do you prefer sort of the more motion simulator bits and pieces? The Minion Land is already up and running on the channel, and that did look very good in person, because obviously that is all brand new. This, I do believe, has been around for a little while, but it still looks great. But like I said, the main ride for the Transformers was actually closed, so it kept everything really quiet, all up by the Transformers shop, and then it just meant that people sort of fed in to where the roller coasters weren't. I do believe from about lunchtime onwards the roller coasters weren't running. It looked like one of them had stalled, and I don't think one of them was going for most of the day. So it did seem to be that the Sci-Fi City was struggling a little bit on today, but you've just got to put it down to the heat and the other bits and pieces like that. And you can see that there's actually no water going on underneath there. It does look like they're in the process of just draining all the water and cleaning out all the different bits and pieces, ready obviously for their main summer season, because you couldn't walk down to the bit that you normally could walk to then cut across to basically the start of the theme park and get some really nice video and photos of the bits and pieces shooting around on the track. So there was a few bits and pieces shut around this area, but this was the only section of the theme park that didn't have everything open and fully operational. So very lucky on today. But you can see you've got the frozen fuel where you could get those really very cold cans of whatever it is that you wanted, and there was lots and lots of those drunk throughout the day from myself, and I would imagine everybody else that was in the theme park as well. But you can see you've got the two entrances to this big ride. You can pick and choose what team that you're going to be going on, so you can pick the red or black track. I do believe that the track has actually been repainted since it's been installed, because the video, when you're walking around in the queue line, it's a different track colour. So if you can remember what the track colour used to be and at what year it was either retracked or repainted, then obviously please do let me know in the comments below. But again, there you go, you've got galactic treats and more cold drinks, so they were selling them very quickly. Now what you could normally do is walk all the way down here in a straight line. You could then get to underneath the track. That I did manage to do last year, but that was unable to do that this time, so it was just blocked off. So that's why I didn't really go down that way at all. Now as I turned around to come back on myself to make sure that we didn't miss anything, I noticed that the queue length and the ride time was extremely short for this ride just here. There was a huge amount of people right at the start of the ride for no reason whatsoever, and then you could just literally walk straight past them and walk basically straight onto the ride. Now that was the locker system. That was just really quick sort of show and tell, so you basically have to put all of your bits and pieces in the locker before you go on any of these big rides. It is a little bit hit and miss though, because it does say that you get the lockers for free, but I have been around this park before where that actually does get changed. So when it's busy, they do charge you a couple of dollars just to put your bits and pieces in there, and then if the ride breaks down or there's a delay on the ride or anything else, if you don't get back to your locker within a certain time frame, you also get charged for the locker as well. So they don't do that over in any of the other Universal Studios that I've been to in the past. I said this last time I was here, I was quite surprised they did actually do this over in Singapore, but I don't know if it's just a cultural thing or it's something that they are going to be either bringing in or they are starting to phase out. So if that has always been the case at the theme park here over in Singapore, then obviously please do let me know. But it's just something to consider, because if you have got a bag, you have to have it in there for the Mummy ride, for the Jurassic Park ride, and this. So you will need to put your bag in some of the lockers at least 3 times during the day, and it could be anything up to $5 at a time. Don't forget that is Singapore dollars, so you can get through your money quite quickly just in cold drinks and lockers. Now you can see that we have got a mashup of the Transformers going on just here, so that is obviously the accelerator, which is themed to Bumblebee, and then behind us is where all the screams and everything are going of the track. Now I am sure we might have seen the black track running, but I think that is the first one to be closed off, and you can see just how quiet this is as well. There are people queued up ready to go on, so I think they were just doing a test run, but it did look like there was 1 or 2 little faces in there as well. The pay-to-plays were going well. The Starbot Cafe, when I walked in there, that was completely empty and very, very cool as well. So if you wanted to get yourself a nice bit of food or drink just before lunch and before it gets busy, that is a very, very good place to go to, especially if the main ride is closed, because nobody seems to bother to go up in there if it's not. Now, the one thing that was extremely popular was Meet the Transformers. Now, the people that were doing that show were amazing. The jokes were very, very, very funny, and of course you could get all your photos and everything like that. So if you have managed to get your photo opportunity with them, then obviously please let me know. You can obviously, if you're lucky enough, get your photo taken with all of the different characters throughout the park. And of course, you've got all the Shrek characters and everything like that. Now, I do believe we're about to walk. Do I actually walk in there? We have a quick look at the menu. So there's all your different bits and pieces, $16, $17. So you've got $18 for the chicken. I think I might go in. That's amazing. So here we go. So we've got the Starbot Cafe. Nobody in it whatsoever. It is open, so it is good to go. I think I made that chap jump because he wasn't expecting anybody to come in this early. There's 1 or 2 people sat down with drinks and things just there, which is the right time to come in, because you can obviously look at the park map. You can figure out all the different bits and pieces that it is that you want to do, and then obviously you can then just enjoy your day. But just be careful, because if you are going to grab yourself something big to eat or a nice thick milkshake, you will probably end up bringing it back up again with the speed of some of the roller coasters. The Mummy in Egypt is fantastic, and again, completely different track layout to the one that we've got over in Florida. And like I said, both of those roller coasters are very, very similar to the Hulk that they've got over in Florida, but I find it a lot smoother. But I think the ride might be a little bit shorter. I'm not too sure why. I don't know if it's just the first bit is a little bit shorter and the second half feels exactly the same, but I'm sure there'll be somebody out there that knows the track length and knows a lot more than I do. But we are slowly starting to run out of time. So if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. You can see both of the tracks are running currently. Didn't manage to get on one of them, and then like I said, by the end of the day they both basically stalled and they weren't running. But I would imagine it was unbelievably hot sort of mid-afternoon into when the park closed. So there's potential that there were bits and pieces just more for safety than anything else. So every single land is available individually in the Universal Studios Singapore playlist, and then of course there will be a full park tour as well. Now there are going to be lots and lots of other Universal Studio theme parks coming from around the world over on this channel, and lots of other Legoland content coming from Off by a Stud YouTube channel. So one more time, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Let us know what your favourite land is within the Universal Studios banner. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care and I'll catch you next one.